better to have a little chit-chat with than Adam Schefter as we get ourselves all worked up about the possibility of Green Bay being involved in a move at the trade deadline. Good morning, Adam. How are you doing today?
Good morning, everybody. How are we doing?
We're good. We are seeing some things from other teams, particularly in the division, that are making us, the collective, a little bit nervous. So you got Minnesota making a move for an offensive lineman to fill a need there. You got Dan Campbell jumping up and down behind the podium about them potentially making a move. A lot of people are saying maybe they're in the market for Hendrickson from Cleveland. And you got the Packers with, well, proverbial tumbleweeds, which is not unusual for the Green Bay Packers. Adam, are you hearing the green and gold being involved in any potential trade conversations?
I have not heard anything specifically, but I would say this. I didn't hear anything last year when all of a sudden Rasul Douglas was shipped out to Buffalo. So things happen. It's not like these things are being advertised. And you mentioned Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson, Cincinnati. I don't think the Bengals would trade Trey Hendrickson. Although if they lost this week, you'd have to take a look at everything, because I think all the games up to the trade deadline influence whether a team is a buyer or a seller. And then Cleveland would be looking to deal Zadarius Smith, and I've felt all along that Zadarius Smith was a candidate for Detroit. And when I see Dan Campbell jumping up and down, I just think that they're going to be players in Zadarius Smith. Now, I also will say, and we're just about at the end of it, it's Wednesday. It's unusual, but not unprecedented, but it's unusual to see trades made later in the week. As Chewy would know, like the teams are going back to practice today, they're putting in the game plans. You don't usually typically see trades made on Thursday or Friday. Like it just doesn't happen, by and large, usually. The trades that happen come on Mondays and Tuesdays. That's when they get made. And the trade deadline is Tuesday, 3 Central, 4 Eastern. And I would imagine there'll be more moves, although I think we've seen the majority of big name moves already, I think. Every time I say that because I want it to be that way. I want it to just be left alone and just have a little quiet finally. And every time I think that way, it's not. And it just goes crazy. But, I mean, we've already had Devontae Adams, Amari Cooper, DeAndre Hopkins, Deontay Johnson, all traded. How many more big trades you want?
Well, one for the Packers.
Preferably one more, Adam. If you're going to ask the question,
Yeah.
preferably
what do you
one
want?
more.
What do you want? What do you want?
Myles Garrett?
Well, we want to. Yeah,
No,
we want to DN. But Adam.
Well, look, I understand.
Adam,
I understand it's not happening.
Wait.
But you
By the
asked
way,
me what I wanted.
Wait, why is it not
Jen
happening?
asked
Give
about
us that
Jadeveon
info.
Jen asked about Jadeveon Clowney last week. I don't think he's generated much of any interest at all. Continue on. Who else you want?
Oh, this is fun. We just wish list. This
Max
is like
Crosby, they were talking. Not
happening. No chance.
What about this 𝙂𝘼𝘼𝑃 from New York? I keep seeing his name pop up in different trade pieces.
Well, he's really good, except what I would say there is you have a Giants GM and head coach that are fighting to keep their jobs. You think they want to go trade away a good pass rusher for draft picks that they may not even be able to make? I don't know. And he's been good. And Kayvon Thibodeau is out. So, okay, you're the Giants and you're trying to win over more support. And I know the owner came out last week and said that they're safe. But he said the same thing in 2017 and fired Ben McAdoo 2 weeks later. And he said the same thing in 2021 and fired Joe Judge 2 weeks later. So I appreciate that he's saying that they're safe. And he said, I don't anticipate making changes next year. I don't anticipate making changes in the offseason. Anticipate is a word that I think leaves some room for change of heart. So if you're the Giants, do you want to go trade 𝙂𝘼𝘼𝑃, who's been really good, when your other top pass rusher, Kayvon Thibodeau, is on IR? I don't see it, but have at it.
Adam, I saw your report earlier this week in regards to Jordan Love's availability on Sunday. As cautious our teams are today with injuries like that, do you still believe there's a pretty good chance he's going to play this weekend?
Look, again, it's Wednesday. I'm going to guess. I don't know this. He's going to be limited today, limited tomorrow, limited Friday, questionable, and then my guess is he plays. That's how I see this going in, and let's see how it plays out. But I know they have the bye next week, so they obviously, if they rest him, they would get 2 weeks for Jordan Love, and Malik Willis has played well. So that would be an option, and let's see how he feels during the week. But my guess, not a report, my guess, reading between it sounds like everybody was pretty relieved at the way the testing came out. It sounds like everybody was relieved it wasn't worse than it was. And it sounds like he's going to have a realistic chance to play on Sunday. Now, whether he will or not, we'll see this week. But I could say with confidence he's going to have a realistic chance to play on Sunday.
Adam, do you think part of the reason that the NFL trade deadline is now a thing is because teams and GMs don't value draft picks like they used to? I mean, they still value them, and they're still obviously a very good tool, but they don't value them the way they once did.
No, that's not what it is. I don't believe that, Gabe. I think what it is that we've got a newer, younger breed of general managers. We've got a younger, newer breed of general managers who are not afraid of making trades. We've got a younger, newer breed of general managers who have made trades that have worked out and helped them win Super Bowls. And other teams see this and like, oh, so we can make trades? So it's not taboo to do that? Because back when Chewy played, front offices did not like making trades. Like everybody was very apprehensive. You might get 2 or 3 trades maybe in a given year. And now you get 2-3 trades a week in the 4 or 5 weeks leading up to the trade deadline, it seems like. So, no, because GMs still value draft picks as much as they value anything. It's just that the mindset around them has shifted.
Yeah, some of it was the perception that it would take a player too long to kind of catch up to the team they were joining, right? Has there been a change like across the league where that's not an issue anymore, Adam?
I mean, that was a part, like you say, is it worth giving up this pick for a player when he might not learn this? Like, that'd be a part of it, Jen. But I think any sort of stereotypes that existed, any preconceived notions that existed have kind of been shattered. And we've seen guys who have been traded have roles and make impacts and be difference makers on the way to big wins.
We pay a lot of attention, obviously, to the NFC, Adam, but obviously the AFC has been making moves. And Gabe was noting how the teams who are above the Packers in the power rankings on ESPN.com have made moves. Given what the two teams have done, the Ravens and the Chiefs, who do you think is closer now after these moves to representing the AFC in the Super Bowl?
Well, those power rankings mean so much at this time, especially.
We know you're a big power ranking
huge
guy.
Power rankings, love them. Chewy also giving his endorsement of the power rankings.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, there's nothing that means less to me than power rankings. Zero.
You guys were fine this week, Adam. You guys were okay. I don't have any problems.
Power ranking. Here we go. What I would say is, to me, Kansas City, what's amazing is the Chiefs are unbeaten. They're 7-0, and Patrick Mahomes is tied for the league lead in interceptions. Like, they have not played great. And the Ravens are coming off a loss against Cleveland, but I still think the Ravens are formidable. And these things change week to week. Buffalo's coming off a very impressive win in Seattle. So Buffalo, obviously, is going to be right up there. And, I mean, you tell me who's going to challenge Buffalo to win the AFC. So Buffalo is going to win that division, right? To me, the two best teams in the West are the Chiefs and Ravens, and I think Bills and Texans are right there. And by the way, I think any of those 4 teams are good enough to win when all is on the line.
Adam, will Aaron Rodgers be playing football next year? And if so, is there a chance he's in a different uniform?
Interesting. I'll just say this. When I watch him this year, he looks like a guy that says to me, what am I doing? Like, what do I need this for? That's what it looks like to me. And that, obviously, the more they lose will become more and more of a conversation. But he just looks like a guy who, like, when he put his towel over his head, like, I see him, I'm just imagining this. Nobody said this to me. But, like, man, I'm over 40 years old. It takes so much to do this. It's a big commitment and toll. I got more money than I ever need. The hell do I need to sit out in the rain and get my ass beat up like this, a crappy football team? Like that's how I feel like. If we gave him truth syrup, that's what would be going through his mind. The season has looked like it sucked some of his spirit from him, which has been the case for many players who have come through that organization in recent seasons. And it looks like it's taken a mental toll. Could he play next year somewhere else? Conceivably, yeah. His contract's up after this year, I believe, right? Like he's a free agent after this year?
No, I think he still has a year left on the deal because he had talked about, they had like redone the deal and he talked about playing more than just this year. I believe he's got 1 year left on the deal.
I have to look at that, but I'm going to enter it in. But I would say probably now is not a great time for him to answer that question, because if he were to answer the question now, I think it might have a certain lean. But there's still 9-10 games to go. Let's see how the season plays out. But to me, so far, the season looks like it has sucked from life from him.
Well, he might have new life at him. He found the fountain of youth. Cayenne pepper and water is his new elixir. Have you ever thought of trying any of these little elixirs like cayenne pepper and water for the fountain of youth?
No.
He's not a big fan of hot hole.
Here's the thing. I'm into, trying all these things like that could help, and I think it's interesting. Like, I pause, and obviously he must be getting some benefit of it. I'm not dismissing that, and maybe I do. So you put pepper in your water, like
cayenne pepper.
Cayenne pepper.
Yes, cayenne pepper and water is apparently that's what Thomas Morstead told him.
So he feels better, right? But he's not playing better.
That is an important distinction, Adam.
Yes.
I appreciate you being the one to highlight that for us. Yes, he does feel better. The play, not so much. Can I just read you something to you, Adam? Joshy puts our show sheet together. It's all the stories and the things that we want to make sure that we get to throughout the 2-hour show here. And he wrote for this one, Fountain of Youth. This is just sad stuff coming from Aaron Rodgers, and not the first time he has talked about finding a fountain of youth, because clearly he feels old, slow, and ineffective. That's Joshy's editorializing on the old show sheet, which I, for one, appreciate.
Well, again, it just, when you're not winning, like, the seasons become long and hard and trying. And if they were winning, which they're not, I think he'd have a little bit more life and energy, no matter how much cayenne pepper he was or wasn't taking in. So it's just, when you go through those seasons, I don't know how many of them you had, Chewy. Like, and look, I didn't play, but I covered a couple of really bad teams. Those seasons, they're no fun for anybody. They're just really unenjoyable. And that's the thing. The Jets have lost, I believe, 5 straight games. He doesn't look like he's having any fun right now. And it's not. And nobody's having fun when you're not winning.
Adam, last thing before we let you go. Yes, you're 100% correct. I covered a couple of Bears squads pretty closely, and that was a long stretch there. Anthony Richardson. Yesterday, it's announced that he is being benched. They are handing the keys over to Joe Flacco, who has, obviously, we all have eyes, played better. But people can't help but connect the "he was tired" comments. And I even saw a lot of people saying, in that instance, you should lie. Lie your face off. Don't you dare tell people that the reason that you pulled yourself out of a game is because you were fatigued.
I'm pretty tired.
I think I'll go home now, Forrest. What do you make of this whole situation? It sounds like they're not done with him, but it certainly was a bad look for the young QB.
Oh, I still, again, there are some things, and I talked about it on my podcast this week. There are certain things that I call stickers that stick to you and follow you throughout the course of your career. And this was a weekend of stickers. We had Anthony Richardson tapping out and saying openly, I was tired. We have Tyreek Stevenson, speaking of the Bears, with a sticker where he's taunting Bears fans. And no matter how well he plays, it will always follow him that he was taunting Bears fans, then took the wrong angle to run into the play to deflect the football. Actually deflect the football. The guy taunting the fans that winds up in the hands of Noah Brown. Like, he's going to have to make a lot of good plays for a long period of time in some big moments for Bears fans to ever kind of move past that one. And I think when Anthony Richardson pulls himself out, like you could have said, I had a cramp. I had, I was my shoulder, I felt a hinge. My contact lens, I said, like, you don't wear contact. Well, I was wearing contact lenses that day, and there was something in there. Like, you could come up with a lot of things. What you don't say is, I was tired. I've never, in my 35 plus years of covering football, ever seen a quarterback tap out. I've seen quarterbacks keel over. I've seen them play it out. I've seen quarterbacks throw up. I've seen quarterbacks be gassed. I've never seen a quarterback pull himself out and then openly admit in a self-inflicted wound, I was tired. Like,
because what happens, Adam, is you can lose the fans and that's fine, but once you lose your teammates, that's tough to get back, man. Teammates sitting there going, hey, we got a chance to win the game, and you pull yourself out because you're tired? Are you kidding me? Guys don't want to play for guys like that, They want to play for Favres. They want to play for Rodgers. They want to play for guys that put it on the line, not that are all about themselves. I give him a pass because he's young, but he's got to grow up, man, if he's going to be the franchise quarterback.
And that may be the biggest thing. Like, he's supposed to be a good kid, but I think he's young, he's immature, and that is a great example of a learning. Like, he's 23 years old, right? I mean, we all do. We all make decisions at 23 that you wish you could, redo. And so it was a bad decision. But to my point, bad as it was, young as he is, it's going to follow him for a little while now. It just is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the stick.
You're right.
It's weird the things that stick, but you want to know what jumped to my mind as soon as you said it was Sam Darnold seeing ghosts. For whatever reason, for as long as Sam Darnold plays.
Yes, Jen, and you're right. That was a sticker kind of thing, but that shows you how long it takes where you can begin to kind of move past that and get people free. Yes, it's a sticker, but yes, you're also looking at Sam Darnold now as a guy who's moved past that, overcome it, grown, and now could be the comeback player of the year on a playoff team, playing really well on a expiring contract, could do really well in free agent. So he's gotten past it. But how long ago was that? 5 years?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, he was in a Jets uniform. I know that.
Had a couple different teams since then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Adam, we appreciate you hanging out with us this morning. Have a great one. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. Next week when we talk, we'll see who the president of the United States is. How about that?
Whoa.
Maybe we'll know. Maybe.
Very good.
I mean, it's a fair statement. It's just, did you have to go so apocalyptic this morning?
Just saying.